The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Relative held as suspect in triple homicide. A close relative of one of two men and a woman whose bodies were found down a precipice off the North Coast Road last week has been held by police as a suspect. Police sources said that the suspect was held by homicide detectives 2 days after the victims' bodies were recovered. According to reports, last week Monday afternoon, the burnt bodies of 34-year-old vendor Ako Keon Matthew and 22-year-old Robin Arlington Sancho were found near a shed where Matthew lived and operated a shop. Their bodies were found by their relatives who were searching for them after they were out of contact for a few days. The following day, members of the Hunter Search and Rescue Team conducted a search of a precipice near the Matthews shed and discovered the decomposing remains of a woman believed to be Matthews' girlfriend, who was also reported missing. Police sources said that the suspect was sent for a mental evaluation at the St. Anne Psychiatric Hospital and will be interrogated by investigators once the process is completed. Before being sent for the evaluation, the suspect reportedly confessed that he was responsible for the demise of the three people after he got into an altercation with his relative over a long-standing dispute. Detectives of the Region 1 Homicide Bureau are continuing investigations. Cunupia man dies, passengers hospitalized in Manzanilla road accident. A Cunupia man met his demise after his vehicle crashed into a utility pole on Manzanilla Road yesterday morning. Adesh Singh, 39, of David Toby Road, Chinchin, Cunupia, succumbed to his injuries at the Sangre Grande Hospital. According to a police report, around 1:30 a.m., a party of officers attached to the Manzanilla police post was driving north while patrolling the Manzanilla-Mayaro Road when they observed a silver Nissan Almera crashed into the light pole. The vehicle had 4 occupants. They were identified as Adesh Singh, the driver, and passengers Kristen Henry, Terran Stanley, and Varun Singh. Henry and Stanley were slumped in the back seat, and Singh, at the time, was lying on the ground outside of the vehicle. They were all injured. Police contacted the emergency personnel, and officers of the Sangre Grande and Mayaro fire stations responded and freed the occupants from the vehicle. Aresh and Varun Singh were taken to the Sangre Grande Hospital, while Stanley and Kristen Henry were carried to the Mayaro Hospital. Adesh Singh died a few hours later while receiving treatment. The wrecked vehicle was taken to the Manzanilla police post. AG Corporal Nanhu of the Manzanilla police post is continuing inquiries. Dennie's Funeral Home partially destroyed in arson attack. Investigations have begun into a fire that partially destroyed the upper floor of Dennie's Funeral Home in Belmont yesterday morning. According to a police report, Molotov cocktails were thrown through a glass window at 4:47 a.m., causing the area where it landed to be set on fire. Police said that they believe the person or persons behind the attack tampered with the surveillance cameras before throwing the flammable substance, since nothing was seen on the footage. Several workers were at the funeral home cleaning up yesterday afternoon. The funeral home was tossed into the limelight last year when it facilitated a funeral in which the corpse was made to sit in a chair and driven in the back of an open-air vehicle. In February, a hearse belonging to the funeral home burst into flames along the North Coast Road as it transported a dead person to a funeral in Las Cuevas. Teenager in critical condition after being shot at Mini-mart. A 17-year-old boy was shot in the head while in a Mini-mart in Sangre Grande on Saturday. According to a police report, at about 12:45 p.m., the victim of Cedarwood Drive Northeastern Settlement was conducting sales at LA Foods, a mini-mart located at the corner of LA Drive and Ojo Road, Sangre Grande, when a man dressed in dark clothing opened fire in his direction. The man had earlier been observed standing in an open lot next to the mini-mart. Police said the man then entered a silver-colored 80 wagon which sped off in a southerly direction along the Ojo Road. The victim was found lying on the floor of the mini-mart with a gunshot wound to the back of his head. He was taken to the Sangre Grande Hospital in a private vehicle where he underwent emergency treatment. He was said to be in critical condition yesterday. A report was made to the Sangre Grande Police, and Acting Sergeant Dixon and a party of officers from Sangre Grande Police Station responded. Several people were interviewed. Checks were carried out in the area, and the vehicle was found abandoned at Balata Extension, Madusing Drive, Sangre Grande. Police said the vehicle was also the subject of a report of a robbery with aggravation in the Sangre Grande district on April 28. Investigations are ongoing. $42,000 stolen and father erased in home invasion robbery. Why did the intruders who broke into the home of Daniel Johnson shoot him after he complied with their demands for money? This is one of the burning questions of relatives and friends as they mourn his loss. Johnson, 57, the owner of Daniel John Scaffolding, succumbed to his injuries around 1:50 p.m. on Saturday, almost 12 hours after he was shot in the forehead at his Paradise Avenue Whiteland home, while his two children, ages 17 and 9, were at home. They were not injured. Police report that it was around 1:15 a.m. when the men broke into Johnson's home and demanded money. He handed over $42,000, and on their way out, they fired one shot, which hit him in the head. Johnson's son got into his father's vehicle and drove for miles until he got to the home of Ashwayne Barrington, his father's friend and colleague. In an interview at Johnson's home yesterday, Barrington said around 1:27 a.m. on Saturday, he heard a banging on his front door at Garacara Village, Williamsville. He recalled that Johnson's son was shouting, "Uncle Ashwayne, Uncle Ashwayne, they now erase Daddy, they now erase Daddy." Barrington added, "We opened the door and he was kinda distraught, crying and carrying on, saying they erased his daddy." The boy, who was with his sister, would have driven for about 7 minutes to get to his home. Barrington said they were able to calm him down, and then they called the police. They then went to Johnson's house, where they found him on the bedroom floor. He said Johnson was still alive, but he could not talk. They asked him if he knew who did it to tap his hands, so he was tapping on the ground. "You sure you knew who did it? Tap your foot this time." He tapped his foot, he recalled. Eventually, the EHS ambulance arrived and took him to the San Fernando General Hospital, where he died around 1:50 p.m. Repeating what was told to him, Barrington said the perpetrators came through the back door, snatched his son, and told his father, "I'll erase your son if you don't give us the money," because he received some funds from a job the day prior. He handed him the money, and as they asked the son to pick up his father's phone, when the son turned around to pick up the phone, they shot his father. That's the question everybody asking. If he already got the money, why shoot him? I don't know, probably he could identify the persons. He said no one knew that Johnson had collected $75,000 for a job the day before. Johnson had $42,000 remaining after paying a few bills. Barrington believes the children will need counseling. "My major issue is the children and the health of the children, because these children, they were in a house where their father was erased, and I don't know if anybody could help, psychological help, or anything could be given to them because of that experience," he said. An autopsy is expected to be performed this week at the Forensic Science Center, Port of Spain. Officers of the Homicide Bureau of Investigations, Region 3, are investigating. Claxton Bay man dies in accident after tire blowout on Sir Solomon Hochoy Highway. A 26-year-old man died early yesterday morning after his tire blew out and his vehicle crashed into a utility pole along the Sir Solomon Hochoy Highway in Freeport. The victim was identified as Justin Ramhand of Cedar Hill Road, Claxton Bay. Relatives said that Ramhand worked at the Immigration Division in Port of Spain and was on his way home from a work function when the accident occurred. According to a police report, Ramhand's vehicle, a white Suzuki sedan, spun out of control before slamming into a utility pole around 6 a.m. After the impact, the vehicle landed in a ditch off the highway. Ramhand died on the scene. His mother, Shamila Ramhand, was inconsolable as her son's body was removed from the vehicle and taken away. She was assisted by several relatives who gathered at the scene. Police believe that the tire blowout led to him losing control of the vehicle. Ramhand's sister described her brother as a genuine soul who was very loving and kind. He was a good-hearted person who loved his family and was always there for his friends. He always kept his promises and took me out for my graduation. He was loved by all, and we will miss him very much. Venezuelan man erased in Cuba home invasion. A Venezuelan national was erased on Saturday night at his home in Macbean village in Cuba. According to a police report, around 8 p.m., moments after Joel Fernandez arrived at his home, which is located in a side road obliquely opposite Old Mac, assailants alighted from a black Audi and opened fire on him. Fernandez died at the scene. Police believe that the men in the Audi followed Fernandez's vehicle, waiting for the opportune time to erase him. Two of Fernandez's friends who went to the scene said they were very saddened and shocked by the news. "We don't know why they killed him, but he worked very hard here in Trinidad. This is just terrible, sad, very sad. I'm shocked," Fernandez's friend said, who requested anonymity. Police said Fernandez, along with a woman, were well known in the area as they sold brand-name sneakers and sandals under a mango tree opposite the savannah along the old southern main road, Macbean Village. On Sunday, there was no one at the house and the gate was locked. However, neighbors who wished to remain mum said they were pretty shaken up over the incident. One neighbor who requested anonymity said, "Here is a usually quiet residential area. We real shocked to hear what happened to the Spanish man. Things real bad in this country." A police source alleged that some Venezuelan nationals are being followed by their enemies from Venezuela to Trinidad, and according to the source, are dealing with them. However, investigating officers are yet to determine a motive for Fernandez's homicide. Minister of Works and Transport says that there is no blight or superstitious force causing accidents at Macoya Intersection. Minister of Works and Transport Rohan Sinanan has said that there is no blight of superstitious force leading to accidents at the intersection of Macoya Road and Priority Bus Route, despite several accidents there in recent times. The minister visited the intersection with police and ministry officials yesterday and said he had noted the increase in vehicular collisions. While there are differing explanations for the seemingly growing trend of vehicular conflicts at this particular intersection, the World Health Organization, along with other leading global authorities on road safety, postulate that most road traffic accidents are avoidable. There is no blight or other superstitious force controlling the outcomes at Macoya Road and the PBR intersection, the minister said in a news release after the visit. He said that as it relates to the vicinity, it appeared that human error was a prevailing cause of the incidents. Speeding, a lack of full attention while driving, disregard for traffic signals and signs, and neglect for the well-being of other vulnerable road users are all common culprits in the narrative of road traffic accidents, he said. Sinanan said that in seeking to enhance safety measures at the site, the ministry will move to place additional traffic control devices, including informative and regulatory signage, along with rumble strips, a feature that alerts drivers by sending a tactile vibration and rumbling sound through the vehicle. He noted that over the past 5 years, the ministry has spearheaded several new elements in the system of traffic management and road safety, including the amendment of road traffic laws to introduce a demerit points system to monitor and rehabilitate errant drivers and a new traffic ticketing system. He also pointed out the reconstruction of the Trinidad and Tobago National Road Safety Council, a body that will guide a multi-sectoral approach to improving road safety in T&T. Its major responsibilities will include setting quantitative road safety targets for the country and finalizing the National Road Safety Plan 2020 to 2030. On the occasion of this sacred weekend, I would like to take this opportunity to remind drivers of the tremendous responsibility that comes with driving at all times. The role of personal responsibility cannot be overstated. It is my hope that citizens would care enough about this issue to enact the change that is necessary. We must be willing to abide by the laws and care enough to do the right thing, as serious road traffic accidents take a tremendous toll on individuals, families, and their communities, Sinanan said. I ask that as a society we remember and reflect on the sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers we have lost to road traffic accidents and the impact on generations to come. As a leading authority on matters pertaining to road safety in Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Works and Transport will continue to implement other extensive changes and upgrades to the traffic management system. But the largest and most influential stakeholder will always be drivers, he added.